Hey guys! So as you all know, spring has sprung. It is almost mid-May now, and because of that, I would like to talk about a certain artist who made a lot of landscape paintings, specifically paintings of flowers, which make me think of springtime. I know when I've been walking outside, I've been seeing lots of beautiful pictures of flowers, or not pictures, sorry, some beautiful flowers, and they smell wonderful and they're just great. So, yeah, that got me thinking about this artist called Georgia O'Keeffe. And Georgia O'Keeffe was born probably 1890s. She had her first big exhibition in 1917. And in this time, this was about 100 years ago, really only men, well, a couple of women worked in art, but it was mostly men. And Georgia O'Keeffe worked in the studio with all men. She was the only woman, but her talent was enough to gain her some respect, and she paved the way for women artists to come. And since we have so many beautiful flowers in bloom right now, I was thinking that we could all draw some flowers that we find outside. So that's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I would like you to walk outside and to pick a flower, one that's along the street, not in someone's yard necessarily, and bring it inside so you can draw it on paper. Hey students, so I went and followed my own advice and went outside and got this beautiful white flower from outside my house. And now I would like to honor this beautiful flower and honor Georgia O'Keeffe, the artist that I was talking about earlier, by drawing this flower on my paper. So here I have a paper that's pretty much square. It's a regular piece of paper. I would like you to try to do this on a non-lined piece of paper, and we're going to have the flower take up the whole page. So we're going to make the flower drawn a lot bigger than it actually is in real life. And the way we're going to do that is this. Maybe I'll try to prop up my flower, or I could take a piece of tape. This is something you could do too. And have my flower taped up to my little easel here. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tape up my flower right here so I can see it really well. Okay, now I can see my flower. So, now that I have my flower up here, I'm going to start drawing it. And the way I'm going to start is by looking at the middle. See, the way I have this flower positioned, it's kind of hard for me to see the middle. So I'll take a look here. And I see that the flower has a bunch of little sort of lines coming out of the center. It's got thin, sort of, I'm not sure what these are called. I know they have a name, coming out of the inside of this, and I can count them. And I can see that there's one really long one with a little yellow bit at the end, and then there are 6 still long but a little bit shorter ones that are sort of all coming from this place in the middle. So, drawing all these little bits coming out of the flower. And like I said, notice that this is way bigger than my flower is in real life. See, this is pretty small. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more. Got one here. And one here. And let's see. At the ends, they're a little bit, some are a little bit brown. And some are a little bit yellow. And I'm using oil pastels to mark these with the color. You can use whatever you have as usual. And then on the very inside of the flower, I have a very light green sort of coming through here. So I'm doing a little light green in there. I'm trying to take notice of all the little things in this flower because, as you notice, this flower is just white. It's just a white flower, but I'm looking at the petals and I'm seeing how they sort of cross over each other. And the petals, in the middle of the petal, there is a line, and then there's either side of the petal. So I notice all of these little things. I notice in one place that maybe a bug sort of got this flower. And I notice that all of the petals are kind of one part, and then they start separating from the center. You may not be able to see that from this video here. The reason I'm saying this is because I want you to look at all these things when you get your flower from outside. So I'm looking at my flower, and I'm kind of drawing these little curved lines that I see on my flower, and how it sort of comes together here. And there are 5 petals. And my petals are going over the edge of my paper, actually. So here I can see that's where a bug maybe got at it. That's going over the edge. Over here. I definitely recommend getting a flower some other color besides white. I thought this white color was really pretty. And they smell nice, and they're right outside my house. So that's why I got this one. But a colorful flower would probably be best. If you want to challenge yourself, you could get a white flower. But what I'm going to do with my white flower is sort of try to show all these different little lines and curves in the flower. The edges of the petals. One, two, three. And then there's my last petal. This one's sort of delicate. Here I feel like the more that I look at my flower, the more I sort of appreciate how unique it is, I feel like, and how the edges of the petals are sort of roughly. And this petal sort of goes over top of this one. And the petals are different sizes and shapes, and then we've got some lines coming through them and coming through here, and there's shadows on the inside. You can see all the pretty little parts. Even I have light shining and I can see where there may be some shadow parts of the flower. This is what's nice about getting a white flower, is you can see some of the shadows. And we can see here that my flower, again, is much bigger than it would be in real life. It's okay though. But now, Georgia O'Keeffe, something that's cool about her is that her drawings, let me see if I can get the light a little better here. Doesn't matter. Something about her art that's really cool is I feel like she sort of blends colors together and makes a really beautiful piece out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this so we can see it a little bit better in a dark marker, so it'll stand out nicely. You don't have to do this again, but I want to make this the best looking I can make it. So as usual, you use the supplies on hand that you have to make your drawing. I think most of you should be able to go outside and find some beautiful flowers in this area. So if you have oil pastels, you can do this with oil pastels. You can do it with colored pencils, with markers, with whatever you have. So now I have my nice little flower. Let me see if I can move it up a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better, because I always like to do that. So there's my flower. But it's not looking very interesting at that point. So I think I'm going to add a couple more things. I think I'm going to add a little bit of this sort of pinky color along the petals. And I'm going to turn that light back on. Sort of pinky color along the petals, and maybe in the edges, sort of flowing out like this. And maybe I'll blend that in with some white oil pastels. Make a nice, smooth sort of drawing. Holding up my flower. All while I do this, I think I actually want to add a little bit more yellow to the inside of my flower because I think I'm seeing a little bit of yellow there. It looks pretty nice. Feeling pretty happy with that. And if I want, I could even make a better indication. Ooh, I dropped my flower. Of these little pieces that come out that they definitely cast a shadow on my flower. So I could draw that shadow even. There's lots of things you can do with it. It's whatever you see. Try to look for a long time on your flower because when we're doing this, it's because we're excited about the nature here. We're excited about these flowers in bloom, and I want to take my time with it, as I said before. So I am. Going to the edge and doing some little lines for shadows. Another thing about Georgia O'Keeffe that I think is pretty cool is that once she is done with the outside or the picture of her flower, she usually colors the outside with a sort of bright or contrasting color to make the flower stand out. So I think I'm going to do that too. Now, I'm trying to decide. I think I have blue and purple. Not sure which one to use. I think I'll go with blue, like the blue sky. I'm hoping for continued blue skies as we continue to have nicer weather. So now I'm coloring in the outside of my flower. I'm keeping that nice white center. I'm doing the rest in blue, and that will really make this flower pop really nicely. So while I color this in, I'm going to tell you guys all of the things that I would like to have in this picture. So I would like you to go outside and find a flower and draw that flower really nice and big on your paper. The center of the flower should be in the center of the paper. It should be taking up the entire page. So again, the way you do that is by drawing the flower a lot bigger than it actually is. A square piece of paper would be preferable. So it can be a piece of computer paper that you make square. Just cut it to make it square. It doesn't really have to be a nice piece of paper. If you have colors to use, color the background in a nice bright color. And when you send a picture of these flowers to me, you guys, I would like you to try to include the flower that you modeled this drawing off of in the picture. You can put it next to your drawing, close to your drawing. Try not to cover up your drawing. But, yeah. That's what I would like you to do. I'll be back in a couple seconds to have this all finished. So here I am, guys, with my completed flower drawing. I've got a nice blue background with the oil pastels. It'll look a little nicer when you lift it up because I got some on my board. So that's your assignment, guys. I would like you to, once again, fill up your paper, draw your flower bigger than it is in real life. Sorry, I'm just putting away my oil pastels. Use whatever colors you have to color it in. And I would recommend doing a colorful flower as opposed to doing a white one like I chose. But you can if you'd like. When you take a picture to show this to me, please take a picture of it with your flower in the photo. All right, have fun with this one, guys. I sure did. Bye-bye.